I know somebody, we'll call him John to keep him anonymous, who received an email from a recruiter claiming they saw his resume on a job board. Now, right away, John was skeptical. The email seemed off and he had never heard of the company before. But after a quick search, he found that the company had an official website and appeared to be legit. Fresh out of college and desperate for any opportunity, John decided to accept an interview with the recruiter over Microsoft Teams messaging. The recruiter asked the standard job interview questions and John answered to the best of his ability. At the end of the conversation, the recruiter said they would discuss with their higher-ups and get back to him about whether he got the job. Just 20 minutes later, John received an email congratulating him. The company wanted to move forward, but there was a catch. First, they sent John a check to purchase equipment for the job. Then they asked him to buy a phone specifically from Verizon and mail it to them. Now by this point, John's mom looked at the check and immediately knew something was off. She warned him it was a scam. Luckily, John never cashed that check, but by then it was already too late. He had sent them the newly purchased phone and, worse, had provided his social security number, giving the scammers the ability to steal his identity and access his bank account. Needless to say, John never got the job. He had to cancel and change his bank account, and he never found out who was behind the scam. This is just one of the many fake job schemes happening right now. But beyond fake job scams, there's an even bigger issue plaguing the job market as a whole: ghost jobs. If you browse any online job board, you'll find hundreds, if not thousands of listings that have been up for months, each with thousands of applicants. And more often than not, these positions don't even exist. But why are companies doing this? How much does it distort the data we rely on to understand the job market? And most importantly, how much of this is connected to why so many Americans are struggling to find a job right now? Let's try to answer those questions in this video. Modern jobs have a tendency to make your mind spin in confusion. You've got to keep track of all these schedules and to-dos, make future plans, and manage all the ideas in your head while you try to make sense of the bombardment of information constantly hitting your senses. If you want to reduce the amount of time you spend planning and writing, spend more time in nature, and make each day more coherent and fulfilling, you should try today's sponsor, Tana. In its most basic explanation, Tana is an AI note taker, but I actually hopped on a call with one of the creators and it's much more than that. You start by opening up the app and recording a voice memo into what they call a super tag. You can think of a super tag as a pre-written code or script to organize everything you say into the app. So for example, let's say it's the morning and I'm trying to lay out my daily plan. I could say, today I want to read for 30 minutes, write my next YouTube script, and make the thumbnail and have everything done by 6 p.m. Tana will then automatically send the tasks to your task board in a neat, easy to follow table view. You can do the same if you want the AI to whip up and create tasks that used to take hours of brainstorming to do, like creating social media articles or posts. I even made my own super tag called Video Idea, where when I record a voice memo of a video title idea I have, it gives me 10 more titled ideas to use. It's a really cool tool that I've never seen executed in this way before. So if you're interested in trying Tana out, you can get a free trial by clicking the first link in the description box below. The unemployment rate is often hailed as the go-to metric for assessing the strength of the economy and the labor market, with a rate hovering around 4% in January 2025, which is historically speaking quite low. It suggests that most people who want a job are able to find one. So why does this statistic seem to clash with the many stories circulating online about widespread struggles to find work?
This Gen Xer submitted 1,000 resumes to different jobs and has no luck.
I've applied, I think, for every job on earth. I've sent 1 million messages, followed up, begged, nothing.
I just want to know why it's so hard to get a job, man!
Some might argue that these individuals are just the exceptions, the vocal minority that tends to dominate social media. However, with so many similar stories emerging, it's hard to dismiss these as anomalies. What's really going on when you look past the surface level unemployment statistic is far more concerning. For one, the unemployment rate only accounts for people who are actively seeking work and are completely unemployed. This means those who have given up the job search are underemployed or stuck in positions far below their skill level are excluded from this figure. Many of the voices speaking out about the lack of job opportunities might actually be in part-time gigs or positions far beneath their qualifications, which distorts the unemployment rate and makes it appear artificially low. Also, recent layoffs and hiring freezes, particularly in the tech, finance, and media sectors, have sharply reduced the number of new job openings. As a result, more people are searching for work while fewer positions are available, distorting the unemployment rate even further. But if job listings are everywhere, why are so few people getting hired? And how did the hires per job listing ratio plummet so low? That brings us to the focus of this video: the rise of ghost jobs. A survey conducted by ResumeBuilder.com in 2024 found that 40% of companies posted a fake job listing that year, and 3 in 10 companies currently had active fake listings. Why do they do it? For very insidious reasons, if you couldn't guess already. That same survey by Resume Builder also asked the hiring managers their biggest reasons for posting fake job listings, and we're going to break down the biggest ones right now. The top reason was to create the illusion that they're open to external talent. This alone serves multiple purposes, but the biggest one is psychological. When employees see job listings for their own roles, it pushes them to stay productive out of fear of being replaced. Second biggest reason is to make it appear like the company is growing. This improves their market position, and competitiveness might attract investors or even lead to grants from the government. You gotta demonstrate hiring activity to get those big bucks from daddy government. Next reason companies reported is to signal to current employees that their workload will be alleviated. As I covered in my Burnout Epidemic video, many corporate employees are overloaded with tasks beyond their original job descriptions, often working longer hours outside the office. By posting fake job listings is a company's way of saying, hey look, help is on the way. Don't worry, just hang in there and grind out. And the last big reason I want to go over for why companies do this is to collect resumes for later use. Here are all these bright young minds coming out of college with impressive resumes. They see a job posting for an entry-level role on Indeed or LinkedIn that looks perfect for them. They apply to that job and another job just like it, and hundreds more of those, and they don't hear back at all. But the employers got what they wanted. Now they know what the current talent pool looks like, and maybe they can grab one of those unicorns from that pool in the future just in case they need them. This obviously has serious implications for our data on the job market, but before we get into that, I gotta tell you whether these ghost jobs produced the results that employers wanted to get from them. And well, they did. According to hiring managers, 68% of companies who posted fake job listings reported a positive impact on revenue, 65% reported a positive impact on employee morale, and 77% reported a positive impact on productivity. Who knew the biggest hack to increase shareholder value wasn't to treat your workers like humans, give them ample time off, and make sure the work culture was enjoyable? No, it turns out you can just flood the job boards with fake listings, wasting job seekers' time while also making your current workers anxious, overworked, and afraid of being replaced. And some of these companies go as far as interviewing candidates for their ghost jobs, knowing full well they have no intention of hiring anyone. When it comes to how often candidates who applied for these fake jobs were actually contacted, the numbers are pretty crazy. According to the same survey, 39% of companies said they always reached out to applicants, while 45% said they did so sometimes. And among the companies that did contact candidates, 85% admitted to conducting interviews despite having no real intention of hiring anyone. This coincides with the data we now have about how many applicants are being ghosted by their recruiters. Using interview ratings, in which candidates provide feedback on their experience with companies' hiring processes, Revelio Labs found that candidates mentioned being ghosted 120% more frequently than they did back in 2018. Revelio Labs says, quote, "This increase in the incidence of applicants being ghosted gives some indication that the falling hires to job postings ratio is not entirely due to labor shortages. When applicants are few and far between, recruiters are less likely to ghost them, even if they don't meet the criteria. What seems to be happening, especially in the post-COVID era, is that many employers have become more lax with their hiring and interview etiquette. And it's no surprise why. Big corporations are caring less and less about honesty, employee well-being, or ethical practices. Instead, they're locked in on one focus: maximizing profits, even if it means that they're stringing along job seekers or misleading their own workforce. Along with that, it's the way that many recruiters are hiring that really destroys the average person's chance at getting accepted for a role, even if that role might be real. Many companies now use what are called applicant tracking systems. In fact, 99% of all Fortune 500 companies now utilize an ATS. This is a software that companies use to streamline the hiring process by filtering, ranking, and managing job applications. Here's how it works. Companies set specific parameters, and the system scans resumes, breaking them down into structured data, like contact info, work experience, education, skills, and so on. The ATS then compares your resume against the job description, and only if it meets the right criteria does it ever reach a real person. Companies claim ATS helps them find better candidates and improve productivity, and in some cases that may be true. But for job seekers, it often means applying for a job they'll never hear back from, because their application never makes it past the algorithm. Many qualified candidates get filtered out simply because they didn't optimize their resume with the right keywords. If your resume includes fancy templates, tables, images, or columns, the ATS might fail to read it correctly, causing it to be automatically discarded. It's designed to save recruiters time, not help you get a job. And as we now know, many of these jobs are simply just posted for data collection purposes. So let's break this down. The process of finding a job used to be pretty straightforward. You walk into a company, attend a job fair, hand your resume to an actual person, and wait to hear back about an offer. But now we're flooded with millions of job listings that exist solely to waste your time. Many of these listings won't be seen by a real person. They're evaluated by an AI algorithm that decides if you're worthy. This gives the illusion of a thriving job market, even though the labor market is tighter than ever, leaving everyone except the managers and employers feeling depressed, confused, afraid, and angry. And you know what the funniest part is? I had to save the best for last. You're gonna love this. 7 out of 10 hiring managers believe posting ghost jobs is morally acceptable. Like, bro, of course the people who are taking advantage of other people's livelihoods and mental health for profit are going to self-report that what they think they're doing is morally acceptable. When CNBC reached out to popular job posting websites, they basically all made up some bullshit that ghost jobs are either against their rules or that they're actively monitoring jobs to make sure they're real and don't stay up for long. And because ghost jobs are technically still legal, companies can operate in this legal gray area to maximize profits and productivity with little to no accountability. So if you're a job seeker right now, how can you avoid wasting your time on ghost jobs and make sure your resume actually gets seen by a human being? While attending job fairs or directly approaching companies are good ways to get noticed, there are signs to look for that can help you spot a fake listing online. And if you are looking for a job right now, or you will be in the future, it is super important you listen to this part so you don't waste any more time applying to jobs that don't even exist. One of the easiest ways to spot a ghost job is by checking how long the listing has been active. If a job posting's been live for more than 3 months, especially on popular platforms like LinkedIn or Indeed, that's a big red flag. Another giveaway is a vague, generic job description with no specific insight into the role. Keep an eye out for postings with no clear responsibilities, just a list of general skills, no mention of salary, benefits, or work schedule, or extremely broad qualifications that don't align with the position. Another easy spot is if the company is always hiring for the same role. Some companies repost the same job over and over again without ever actually hiring. This is common with high turnover jobs, but also with fake postings meant to collect resumes. A good way to test this is to search for the company's job listings over the past 6 to 12 months. And if you see the same job constantly reappearing, it's likely a ghost job. A job description that has extremely unrealistic requirements might also be an indication of a ghost job. You might have been in the job hunt and stumbled across an entry-level job that requires like 5+ years of experience, which made you scratch your head. And even if you could apply for that role, chances are it's not even a real job. It just might be a fake listing to serve the company's agenda. So related to this, another way to check if a job listing is a ghost job is to search LinkedIn for people who recently got hired for that role at the company. And if you can't find anyone who has actually landed the job, it's probably a ghost job. Oh yeah, and if you find that a random recruiter reaches out to you with their Gmail address saying that they saw your resume on a job board and they want to invite you to be interviewed in Microsoft Teams messaging, it's probably a fake job and they just want to steal your data and money. Clearly, we need stronger laws and regulations around job listings and the entire hiring process, because without them, the federal government will continue to be fed a distorted view of the job market that's completely disconnected from the reality most people face. I'd love to hear what you think we can do to change the way people search for, apply, and get jobs, so please leave a comment of some sort of solution in the comments below. And if you want to see another video heavily related to this, my Burnout Epidemic video, then you can check out this video right here. And stay safe out there, protect yourself from scams, and God, fuck these companies, man.